Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just in a couple of minutes, inshallah, last piece of advice, along with the question that we had, bidnillahi ta'ala. So hopefully we can do two things with one. And that is to have proper understanding of knowledge and have proper understanding and comprehension of what is being said and what is being mentioned. There are thousands of classes, lectures, books, conferences, men, women, people who come, people who go. There's an overload of information. And as one of my personal students said once, a couple of years ago in New York City, he said in 2016, ignorance is a choice. In 2016, ignorance is a choice. If you don't know, it's because you don't want to know. There's so much available information, so many things that is easily accessed from the click of a button. Walakin, however, how many of us understand what we read? How many of us understand what we hear, what we see? How many of us actually have comprehension? The natural talent to comprehend, the natural mental sharpness that's given by Allah. And secondly is the actual skill that you yourself honed and developed through repetitive training, through repetitive listening, through having an ustad or an ustada. How many of us actually have the proper fahm fil ilm? And this is one of the chapters of Sahih Bukhari in Kitab al-Ilm. When the Prophet ﷺ, he spoke to the Sahaba and he told them that there's a tree that is similar to the believer. There's a tree that's similar to the believer. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, he says, فَوَقَعَ النَّاسُ فِي شَجْرِ الْبَوَادِ. He says, the people, they thought about the trees in the wastelands, in the desert. He says, but me, my heart, I thought, no doubt, it was the nakhla. It was the date palm tree. فَإِذَا أَنَا أَصْغُرُ الْقَوْمِ. He says, but I was the youngest, and I was afraid, and I was shy to speak. So Imam al-Bukhari, he mentions this, Bab al-Fahmi fil ilm. Memorizing ilm is one thing. Reading, studying, traveling, sacrificing, that's one thing. But actual fahm, actual what? Comprehension. So my advice, bidnillahi ta'ala, is that if you have the natural skill to comprehend, then you need to, or the talent, not skill, then you need to turn the talent into skill. Turn the talent into skill. Develop it, enhance it, and hone it. Make your mind, bidnillahi ta'ala, sharper and sharper. And from the ways of you developing understanding and comprehension is diversifying what you read and what you study. And this is why many of the pious predecessors, they would say, إِذَا أَرَدْتَ أَن تَعْرِفَ خَطَأَ مُعَلِّمِكَ فَجَالِسْ غَيْرَهُ. It says when you want to see the mistakes of your teacher, of your main instructor, then sit with somebody else. If you want to see your teacher who has knowledge, who has an ilm, who's strong, but every human being has a mistake, or something that they haven't mastered like the next man. If you want to see this, then sit with somebody else. What we're saying about this athar is comprehension. In order to understand hadith better, study fiqh. In order to have a stronger comprehension of tafsir, have a strong understanding of the Arabic language, وهكذا. So this is my piece of advice, is to focus on a specific skill set. And that is al-fahmu fil ilm. Hifd is one thing. We've done lectures on that, memorizing. All right, rihla, traveling, one thing. Sacrificing is one thing. What the piece of advice I'm giving you right now is to enhance and develop your natural understanding for knowledge. Now, so that's half of the bird. The other half of the bird is the question. The question was, well, isn't it best for a man to tell his wife and to preserve the relationship and not get married to a second woman and a second woman without her knowing, so on and so forth? This goes back to what we just said. And that is having a proper understanding of knowledge. Because we never ever once said that a man shouldn't tell his first wife. We never said that. We never said that it isn't recommended and preferable for a man to have a relationship. Who's this woman that's going to be a part of your life now? Where is she from? Is she clean? Is she chaste? My children, us, this is a reality. We said al-istidhan, to seek permission. I tell my first wife, I'm going to get a second wife. I ask my first wife, can I get a second wife? Shatan ma bain al-amrayn. It's like night and day, the east and the west. Listen very carefully. I'm telling you, and I'm asking you. Obviously, sometimes when people tell someone something, it is a type of istidhan, a type of permission. A sister, she says, I'm going to the market, is that okay? Or not even is okay, I'm going to the market, I'm taking the kids out. She's asked permission to leave the home. Through asking, that's not an actual question, she's telling them. But the maqsood is istidhan. That's not the same when it comes to marriage. In other words, I'm trying to do this with hikmah, with gentleness. I want to take on another wife. It's nothing funny, it's nothing bad, it's nothing hidden, it's nothing dubious. It's lawful marriage. Bidnillahi ta'ala. That's one scenario. Everybody understand this? If the first wife, if she likes it, if she dislikes it, I'm still going to what? There's a big possibility me still I'm going to get married. That's not the same as I say, can I get married to Sister Fulana? And the first wife, she drops the glass. She throws the tea in my face. She curses. She storms out of the place. She leaves the bedroom. No, you can't get married to a first wife, period, ever. If you get married to a second wife, talaq. Or in the marital contract, if you take on another wife, talaq, send me back to my family. Obviously, if you have the proper understanding, talking to your wife is one thing, shura is one thing. The Prophet, he made shura of his wives. He asked them things. He spoke with them. He discussed things with them. But for a man to be afraid and to hide and to put a lock on his phone and no and this and that, and hide and duck and bob and weave, that's different. That's different. If you have to do those things, you have to lie and duck and sneak and cheat, and you have to ask if she's totally against it, then that is not the relationship that you need to be in. Whether you stay with both of them, whether you be with one of them, or you avoid both of them. Everybody understand this? This is going to be, 1 second please, this is going to be easily avoided if we have proper what? Fahm, understanding of what's being said. Talking is one thing, seeking permission is what? Everybody clear on this? This is a huge difference here. It's a huge difference. Inshallah, that's all we're going to discuss with regards to this question. Inshallah, next question.
I just want to go back to the secret marriage, brother. I wasn't here, and I just want to understand a bit better. And why is not allowed the secret marriage? Because I see so many people they do that, and some people are practicing Islam.
Clear.
And they ask for the hand and from the wali, the sister's wali, but they hide from maybe from the community or from the other wife to know, because we are in a different country, and this country,
What's meant by secret marriage is not necessarily talking about with regards to the government, Canadian government. We're talking about the Muslim community. That's the initial question. I have a wife. She's my legal wife. We share one bed, but no one knows about it. No one knows about it. Where I go, where I travel, it's hidden. It's a secret. Why? Why does your wife have to be a secret? What is there to hide?
afraid from the other wife to give him trouble.
That's a problem. That's a what? That's a huge problem. How's she going to get her hukuk? Where you going every night? Where's the money going? This is a reality. She has my cards. Where's the bank statements? Where you going? I'm working overtime. Every single other night? Every other 2 nights? Now you're lying. Now you're hiding. Now you're ducking. Now you're no longer transparent. And transparency is the lifeblood of the believer, is to be transparent. And the munafiq, he lacks transparency. The believer is always supposed to be safi. I have nothing to hide. There's nothing to lie about. Because what I'm doing is pure. It's loved by Allah ar-Rahman. Why do I have to hide it? Something's wrong. So if a person has to use some hikmah in the beginning or kadha, that's one thing. But have a total secret relationship with another woman, there lies no doubt that is extremely problematic. What happens when she gets pregnant and she brings a child? What are you going to do? That's not my son. It's my hidden son. How are you going to raise him? How are you going to take care of him? And the list goes on. And let alone the whole purpose of polygamy being legislated is a part of the community life. And everything in Islam is based off of communal living and engagement. Hajj, Ramadan, Zakah, Jihad, all of these things pertain to people being together, people working together. So the whole concept of polygamy, why the Prophet has so many wives, why he married from so many different tribes. If you say keep it secret, keep it hidden, all of these wisdoms are now down the drain. So there should be no secret marriage. And if it is secret, we said it has to be a need and a necessity. 2 young Muslims, they're afraid of falling to zina. Their parents refuse to allow them to get married for worldly reasons. Worldly reasons. They have nothing to do with Allah and His Messenger. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be married. And he's afraid he's going to make zina with this woman. He loves her. He says, I love this girl. I love this guy. That's one scenario. But that's not the scenario of a grown man having a wife in which he sleeps with, lives with. And it's a total secret from everybody. That is a recipe for disaster from so many different aspects and angles. So many. Not just him and his first wife. So many aspects. Everybody understand this? We say that a man, and we'll say it again, should not have a secret marriage. Period. A man should not have a what? Secret marriage. A woman should not be in a secret relationship with a man. First, second, third, or fourth wife. Unless there is a what? A need or necessity. And the need and necessity is going to be limited and restricted. Wallahu alam.
I have a question. So, in this situation, my friend asked me this question from home. She wants to start practicing, but she's not sure who to gain knowledge from, like amongst the sheikhs, the speakers, like all the institutes that we see nowadays. And I guess for somebody who's leaping into it and starting practicing, it might be a little bit overwhelming or confusing for them. Do you have any advice for this person?
You said this is your friend?
Yeah.
Okay, the friend is wishing or wanting to become more religious. She wants to practice, she wants to study, she wants to learn hijab, so on and so forth. So many websites, so many people, it's confusing. Who to take from, who not to take from, everyone claims, etc. I would advise the friend to seek advice from you. And you steer her in the direction of the people that you know and that you trust. Whether you're right, whether you're wrong, as long as you have sincerity, and as long as you have the necessary hard work in finding out the truth. Bi-idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu, what did he do? He left his home. He disobeyed his father. His father was wealthy. His father was powerful. He left. And he went, he met Ahl Kitab, the Jews, the Christians. He was taken as a slave. He was tricked. He was deceived. And at the end, Allah put him where he wanted to be. And he knew that Muhammad ﷺ was the thing that he had traveled so many miles and suffered so greatly for. But the fact is that Salman radiallahu anhu, he had to make it what? An initial step. And maybe he was wrong when he was with the Jews and the Christians. And then finally he found his what? What he wanted. So therefore, if a person goes out and he casts the line and he picks up a bad fish, a small fish, he picks up something that isn't a fish, he has to keep going back to the water. But if you have someone that can give you the fish, you have experience in fishing, then that's what they should do. Let her ask you. And you put her in people or with people that you trust and that you respect, even if you're wrong and if you don't know that much. As long as you have sincerity, as long as you have an honest intention, I think and I feel that this is a good speaker. He may be wrong. He may be a bad speaker. He may not have the proper education, but I believe in my heart that he's a beneficial speaker. So that's the most important thing that a new shahada needs, or a person coming back to practicing. They need a good friend. What book should I read? What teacher? A good companion. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, as Abu Musa al-Ash'ari narrated in the Sahihain, he says, Mathalul Jalis al-Salih, he says the similitude. Listen carefully. Mathalu, he says the similitude of the righteous companion. Not the exactness, the similitude. In other words, there is no one word. There is no one comparison for a good friend. He said the similitude of the righteous companion, Kaba'il Misk, is like the seller of perfume. It's like the merchant of misk. What happens to someone who sells oil? Imma an yuhdiyaka. Either he'll give you some free, a sample. Here's the thing with the cologne. Faddal. It's free. I didn't pay anything. Oh, that's nice. This is a new exclusive fragrance. Or they put it on the hand, or they spray it. That's a fa'idah that you got for free without any effort. وَإِمَّا أَن تَبْتَعَ مِنْهُ, or at least you'll buy from this person. How much is this? I'll give you a deal. I'll give you two for a price of one, etc. It's a fa'idah. وَإِمَّا أَن تَشُمَّ مِنْهُ رِيحًا طَيِّبَةً. At least is that you'll get a good, pleasant experience. I.e., in simple layman terms, the Prophet is telling you you can't lose if you have a good friend. If you have a good friend, there's no way that you're going to lose. And the opposite is the opposite. The bad friend is going to rub off on you. At-tabu'u sarraq, as the Arabs they say, character is a thief. Character is not bought and sold. Character is stolen. It's stolen. Before you know it, the person has rubbed off on you, a little or a lot. So therefore, a new shahada, someone who's new coming to the deen, coming to the way of ilm, of people hadith, before a teacher, before a sheikh, before a book, before a website, they need a good, righteous friend that's going to take them by the hand and physically lead them and walk them on the path. That's my advice. Wallahu alam.
Chef, so before we end, I want to say Jazakallah khair for taking your time and answering all these questions. And before you end, is there anything that you want to say to us?
Right. We say,
I have one last question.
right.
So do I.
Khair, inshallah. Tayyib.
That's okay. So, is it
What I think the sister started first.
okay?
We'll just take these. Obviously we're running out of time. Before we answer these last couple of questions, whether it's the two or three, one thing, inshallah, time is always tight. There are many brothers and sisters from all over the world with a lot of questions. If we run out of time, if there's not enough time, if the question wasn't answered, then you can always go to the website, hadithdisciple.com. www.hadithdisciple.com. There you can send your questions. whatever you need to speak about or ask about in total confidentiality to the website, to the email directly. Bidnai ta'ala. And if you don't get the website, then go on the live stream on Hadith Disciple on YouTube. Bidnai ta'ala. So once again, if your question is not answered, we apologize. It's not intentional. There are many people, there's time, there's restrictions, and once again, I'm a guest. If it was up to me, we would sit here and talk all night. But I cannot do that because I'm a guest. So inshallah, please, if you have more questions, you can send them on the site. We'll very, very briefly take these last couple of questions very briefly.
My question is, what advice would you give in respect to having excellence in discipline and studying the path of knowledge? So balancing the different classes with the daily doings of good exam and not losing focus and not wavering.
That's a very question with regards to keeping focus, perfecting your craft, seeking knowledge, balancing, things like this. We say that's a long discussion, and we've talked about that in many, many lectures. What I'll give you right now is what I just gave the previous sister, your friendship, your company. Who is in your inner circle? Is she memorizing Quran, or she's studying science or engineering, which is nothing wrong with. It's not haram, but it's not the Quran. Your inner friends, your inner circle, your entourage. Do they all wear hijab, or some of them like this and some of them like that? So the friends that you have, the friends that you keep, that you're going to benefit one way or another. Waqi ibn al-Jarrah, rahimahullah, he said, لا يمر الرجل في هذا الشأن حتى يأخذ عمن هو فوقه وعمن هو مثله وعمن هو دونه. He said that a man and also a woman, a person, a hadith disciple, is not going to excel until they do the following three things. Number one, take from those who are above you. Number two, take from those who are similar to you, your peers. Number three, take from those who are beneath you. You're older, you have more knowledge, but you take the fa'idah. So who are your friends? Your friend is going to be one of these three people. My good close friend or friends, they're people that know more than me, and I'm going to learn from them. They're similar to me. We're going to learn from each other. They're lower than me. I'm going to teach them. I'm going to help them out. But if you're around somebody that's pulling you away from fa'idah, pulling away from knowledge and hadith, then obviously you're going against the current. You're going against the current. All right, so that's in brief. If you get a chance, Bidnai ta'ala, you can visit the website, the channel. We have tons of videos just on the topic of seeking ilm, just on the topic of seeking knowledge, for sisters as well. We did several lectures for women seeking knowledge, inshallah ta'ala. The explanation for the hadith seeking knowledge, we've done tons of videos that were requests with regards to women seeking knowledge. Inshallah, last question very briefly, and nothing about the mahram, hajj, or secret marriage, inshallah. Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, so I just want your personal opinion. For a person who teaches the Quran, is it okay for them to make a livelihood of teaching the Quran, or is it better for them to have a daytime job and teach the Quran for free?
They should make their livelihood the Quran, without a doubt.
As in charge the Quran and make money out of it?
Regardless of charging, if they get the money, al-muhim, that should be their profession. You need...
Profession, teaching Quran, getting money out of it, or having a full-time regular job?
Sorry, the question, alhamdulillah, we say, Jazakallah khair, and the question is what? في غاية الوضوح. It's not clear, it's what? Extremely clear. The question is what? Extremely clear. Clear as day, well, alhamdulillah. And my answer hopefully will be extremely clear as well, whether you agree or not. Hopefully it'll be clear. And that is, a teacher of the Quran should devote him or herself to just teaching the Quran, nothing else. There should not be a day job or a night job. If you've memorized the Quran, no matter how sharp your memory is, you need time for review and for revision. You need time to perfect your chosen art. How can that be done? If you work for 8-10 hours in a hospital, in construction, plastering walls. Everybody understand this? You're tired, you're exhausted, you have to eat, you have to rest, you have a family. When is there time to memorize and sit with you in the Quran? And this is a universal principle. Anybody that does a craft and has a skill, they stick to that craft and they stick to that skill. And they make the necessary financial, social, physical sacrifices to devote their time to that chosen art. As far as you charging Quran, does the masjid hire you? Does the center? That's all masail janibiyya. That's on the side of the plate. Al-muhim is anti tatafarraghi. You free yourself for the Quran. The rizq will come from Allah Azza wa Jal. The center contacts you. We have a position for a muallima. The masjid contacts you. This country contacts you. You don't have to say, I charge Quran for Quran classes. Free yourself for the Quran. If you have the necessary skill and talent and skill, the job will what? Find you. You charging money, that's a different issue that we don't have the time to discuss that right now. Is it permissible to take money for Quran? That's a different issue. Al-Muhim, free yourself for studying the Quran and teaching the Quran. That's my personal opinion, as you asked me. My personal opinion. And then the mu'allim, the imam, the student of knowledge, he should know nothing more than what? Ilm. As they said about some of the scholars of the past, they say this man knows more about the narrators of hadith than his own neighbors. If you ask him about the ruwat, the men of hadith, he would tell you their names like he knew them. His own neighbors, he doesn't even know them. Why? Because all of his hours, they're spent what? In those books. So you have to sacrifice your what? Your time. That's my personal opinion. Allah Azza wa Jal surely knows best. May Allah bless all of you sisters, give you the tawfiq in this life, in the grave, and when you're resurrected. Allahumma ameen. Thank you very much for your time, for your attention, for your respect. Jazakumullahu khairan. Inshallah, a gift to the sister with regards to her persistent questioning and her diligence in participating in the Q&A session. May Allah bless you well. Ameen. تفضل. خلاص شيء